Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Hey people, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into the world of film with my first movie review. So I'm really excited about this one because I've been waiting to review a movie for a while. We've done a Lost series review after I watched the Lost series 14 years, obviously after the finale. So today we are going to be talking about Beetlejuice. So it's the first movie review on the channel. So if you like this type of content, if you like reviews on movies, on series, talking about Manchester United, subscribe to the channel, please. Click that notification bell for more content like this. And also, don't forget to smash that like button and comment as well, because that really helps my videos spread far and wide. So please get involved with that as well. So let's get straight into it. Home, home, home. Okay, Beetlejuice. Before I dive into part two, I just want to first and foremost talk about the first movie. The original that was made in 1988. I decided to watch this the night before I went to the cinema. So I watched this movie on Saturday on the opening weekend in South Africa at Ster Cinemas in Cavendish. And I decided to first watch the 1988 version because I never watched it before. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for me to obviously dive into that, watch that movie, and it gave me an excuse to want to watch this movie. So I put it on, I gave it a watch, and I must say, I quite enjoyed it. Regardless of the time that it was set, I enjoyed it still. The technology was a little bit outdated, of course. I mean, it was made in 1988, and some of the practical effects looked a little bit fake, particularly with the puppets, etc., that they used. But it was still enjoyable. It didn't take me out of the story. There are certain movies that I've watched back that are older where the special effects might not hold up, but also the story and the writing didn't hold up either. But in this case, that wasn't the way things went. I enjoyed this movie thoroughly. Particularly, I thought Michael Keaton was phenomenal in this film. His acting was brilliant, his comic timing, he completely submerged himself into the character. And I thought that that was a fantastic role that he took. And I know him personally from quite a few movies. Obviously, Batman was made in the same time period. But the movie that really got me into Michael Keaton, besides the first Tim Burton Batman movie, it was his performance in Birdman. That was the movie that really got me into his ability as an actor and really made me appreciate his acting skills. So I hadn't watched Beetlejuice up to that point. Now that I've watched Beetlejuice, this is my favorite performance from Michael Keaton, hands down. I'm going to also mention Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz. She was really entertaining. I thought she was brilliant. She's probably one of those first actresses that took on that emo girl type role. And I think she did a fantastic role in that as a teenager that didn't really want to be part of this world, that was looking for an escape. And I felt that she fitted that role absolutely brilliantly. And she did a phenomenal performance in this movie, I must say. Although they don't tell you from the first introduction that Delia Dietz is Lydia's stepmother, who was played by Catherine O'Hara, her performance sparks your suspicions throughout this movie. And by the time they reveal a relationship with Lydia, you'd want to blurt it out probably, or you may be thinking it. I knew it when they reveal that. So that's what I felt, and that's exactly what I did when they took us through that phase of the film. Her father was played by Jeffrey Jones, and he was more of a sideshow, I would say, in this movie. You don't really care for his character in this first movie. He wasn't really one of the standout performers when it comes to Beetlejuice. Then you have the performances of young Alec Baldwin and Greena Davis as Mr. and Mrs. Maitland. I felt that their performances were really strong as well to help grow sympathy from the audience. They did that 100%. They start off the movie with these two characters, and I didn't know that they played such a big part because I didn't read up on Beetlejuice before. I just put it on and I watched it. I've heard of the movie, but I never actually did my research before I watched the movie. So I didn't know what a pivotal part they play within this film. And I do think that regardless of that, but they kind of grow that sympathy with these two characters. And I like it when movies do that, where they explore the characters personalities and make you feel for them, and you worry about their survival within the show and whether they're going to survive or not. So I really enjoyed their performances as well. I really cared about what was going to happen to their characters throughout the movie. What I also enjoyed about it is that the movie was very simple, with one major story arc, and it nailed that story arc. They didn't try to be too complicated by deviating off the path and showing something completely different and taking you out of the story. They stuck to the basic storyline. They made it about the characters, they made it about the haunted house. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. So I thought that this movie was a good movie, and I enjoyed it. It was definitely, for me, if I'm going to rate it, it was definitely a 4.2, 4.3 out of 5. It wasn't a 80%, so not a 4 out of 5, but it was a little bit more than that. I felt I really, really enjoyed this movie, and it really made me excited to watch the second part of this film. So let's fast forward 36 years and talk about the sequel of this amazing classic. I'm going to start off with a description of the movie before I give you my thoughts. And let's see what Wikipedia's description is of the show. Beetlejuice is a 2024 American dark fantasy comedy horror film directed by Tim Burton from a screenplay by Alfred Gough and Miles Millar, a sequel to Beetlejuice 1988 and the second film of the Beetlejuice franchise. The film stars Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara, reprising their roles alongside new cast members Justin Theroux, Monica Bellucci, Jenna Ortega, and Willem Dafoe, if you want to be Afrikaans. Beetlejuice opened the 81st Venice International Film Festival on August 28, 2024, and was theatrically released overseas on September 4, 2024, and in the United States by Warner Brother Pictures 2 days later. The film has received generally positive reviews from critics and grossed $146.4 million worldwide. So now it's time for my thoughts on this particular movie. Okay, so I'm going to start off probably with my favorite performances in the show. My favorite performances, again, like the first movie, were Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder. I thought that she picked up where she left off with the character. She's shown growth. She's put part of that past a little bit behind her, even though she's now a well-renowned, like you could say, horror specialist or ghost specialist now that speaks on television shows. She's very famous for this now and for everything that has happened with regard to this haunted house. And when the initial news broke that Jenna Ortega would be in this movie, I was extremely excited when I saw that. And particularly after amazing performances in Wednesday. I mean, I watched that series and I'm a big fan of that show and what she did in that show. But I have to say that in this particular movie, I was a little bit underwhelmed by the way they used her in this movie. Now, this is not a dig at Jenna Ortega. So please, Jenna Ortega fans, do not come and slate me in the comments because that's not my intention here whatsoever. I think her performance was really good in the role that she was given. But I felt that the directors and the writers underutilized her and what we know her for. Sometimes I feel that directors think that by doing the opposite of what is expected from a character is a smart move. But going in different directions isn't always the smart move, in my opinion. Ortega really made a name for herself in Wednesday and for her dark, horror, emo girl elements that she portrayed in Wednesday. She was the perfect Tim Burton character. And that's what I thought we were going to get in this movie. I thought it was perfect casting when they picked her as Winona Ryder's daughter in the movie. Her performance in Wednesday was enough evidence to suggest that she would take Lydia Deeds' persona, put a twist on it, and elevate it. And that's what I thought that they would do with her character in this particular movie. Instead, what they went with is a more regular, boring role. They made her into a mommy's issues teenager, basically. That was a waste for me of her character. Jenna does a great job at making us care for her, though, and that's purely because of her great acting ability. And I thought they missed a chance at really being creative with her skills and ability in this movie. And I was a little bit disappointed by that. Her story arc in the film was kind of became distraction for me from the main and obvious reason why I was sitting in that cinema, and that was for Beetlejuice. I've only said it now twice. I need to watch it that I don't say it three times again. I felt the same way about Monica Bellucci as you know who's ex dead wife. I think her audition wasn't necessary in the film. I think her performance was good at the beginning of the film when they show you how she had to put her body parts back together, and she was obviously rising as this creepy villain or that was going to come and obviously be crazy in this film and wreak havoc on all the characters in the movie. And I constantly thought when I looked at her, and this is probably only me, I was seeing like this young Catherine Zeta Jones. And I know I'm the only one that probably thinks that she looks like Catherine Zeta Jones. But yeah, I was thinking that's what I saw when I was looking at her. But the story arc of her trying to reach Beetlejuice and sucking people's souls along the journey didn't really move me in a way. I think the only time I really felt something for that or was against it was when she targeted one of my favorite characters in the movie, Bob. I like those guys with the little heads. They really added a lot of great humor into the film. I really enjoyed their parts in the film. Another wasted actor in this movie was Willem Dafoe's character. I think as a dead actor who is a detective of the afterlife, it was unnecessary and I think a little bit cheesy because he's not actually a real detective. He acted as a detective in his past life. And I don't think it really added much to the story other than some chuckles here and there when he was interacting with certain characters. And then there's another character, another actor that was introduced into this movie, Arthur Conti, as Ortega's brief love interest turned villain. It was another aspect of the film that I felt was forced and not needed. It was something that took us away from the reason that we were there in that cinema. It's almost like it was shoved into the movie to give writers an easy pathway to get all of the characters into the afterlife, particularly also Jenna Ortega's character to get her into the afterlife that we love so much about the first film. Obviously, that is the world that they built that we really enjoyed from the first film. Then there's Justin Theroux's character, which was a complete waste for me as well. Felt nothing for him at all. He did what he had to do, but he was a douchebag husband of Lydia, and he ends up getting what's coming to him. I thought that the filmmaking aspects in this movie were great, as expected from Tim Burton. Costumes, practical effects, world building, camera shots, all brilliant. But the use of CGI in this movie was really bad. And the one example for this is the famous snake monster from the first movie. When that snake first appeared in the first film, I thought it was extremely cool. And I understood that it would have been scary in the 80s when the technology wasn't as advanced. I was watching the movie thinking, I'd love to see how they recreate this monster in 2024. But instead of making it practical effects again and just adding a tinge of CGI, they CGI the entire thing and it looked terrible. Major missed opportunity for me there. I was very disappointed with that. Now you might be sitting there listening to all of this critique and thinking, damn, is this movie even worth watching? Look, despite my criticism, it was a fun time in the cinema. I really enjoyed myself. You could sit with your steak Iniko combo and you can enjoy it. I thought it was an entertaining film. Seeing Beetlejuice done with modern day technology was captivating. Every time he was on screen, he blew me away. Winona Ryder's performance was brilliant. Her interactions with Beetlejuice was fantastic. And there's enough good parts in this film, I think, to save it from being a bad movie. With all the talent that they had available to them and the advances in technology in this 36-year period, that the movie would be better than the original. And simply put, it was not. So now it's time to rate the film and reveal the ratings of this film from Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. For those of you that don't know how the IMDb ratings work, generally speaking, it is the general fan, regular smos like you and me, that will vote. They'll log in, they have accounts, and then they'll review and vote for the particular movie and say how good it is out of 10. And then they'll take all the votes and tally it up, and then they'll give a rating based on that for the particular film. And this movie got a rating of 7.2 on IMDb. Then on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to explain Rotten Tomatoes to you guys as well. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't work like IMDb does when you give a rating out of 10. They have two ratings. They have a tomato meter and then they have a popcorn meter, which is your audience score. The way Rotten Tomatoes works is for the tomato meter, that's the critic score. Critics will decide whether the movie was certified fresh or whether it was rotten. And if a lot of people voted it as rotten, then it would have a lower percentage score. If a lot of people voted being fresh, then it would have a higher percentage score. Same for the audience score. So I'm going to reveal the audience score to you now first, and that is 82% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is the popcorn meter. And then for the tomato meter, for the critic score, it is 76%. Now I'm going to give you my rating for this movie. Overall, it was a good time. I enjoyed the movie, but it was nowhere near as good as the first movie. So for me, I'm going to be rating this a 3.5 out of 5. I told you guys what my rating was for the first movie. It was 4.3 out of 5. This one was a 3.5 out of 5 for me. Let me know what your ratings are. Let me know if you enjoyed this particular show. Put it in the comment section below, your thoughts on this movie. Let me know your ratings in the comment section as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button, comment and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Home, home, home.